Welcome back, and make sure you go check out those street-style skins available in the shop now. You got Ash, Sky, you got Ying as well, tons of other ones, Maeve as well, Gore. So many great street-style skins available in the shop. Which one is your favorite?
Ying.
You like the Ying one the best?
The Ying
What's the
I'm
little
still
creature
waiting
inside
for,
the...
yeah, the dog in the mirror
Right.
is one, but also just the jacket. I like the jacket a lot.
You could match her style.
I remember for the
up.
update show, I kept asking when we get the jacket and the shoes all for sale, because they were all very specific,
like in real life.
Paladins brand,
Right.
stylized things.
Right.
And I want them personally. My wallet is ready to spend the money. They just have to come out.
They just need to come out. But let's look forward to our third set of the day here. We have Heating Up, who looked kind of iffy last week at the start of their matchup, but end up winning at the end of the day over Onslaught, and that's kind of been that 1-2 matchup. They go against Big Money here today. Who are some of the big names on that team that you're looking at? I know SoldierBot's kind of been someone who's raised some eyebrows and looked pretty good while doing it.
And that's one of the things. SoldierBot has been around for a little while now, and the one thing that he's always been able to do is impress. It's just been on a scale where he was always, I want to say unfortunately, on the second place team, right? It was always up against, some of the players he's playing with now that were on this kind of powerhouse of a unit team where they just would never give you the ability to showcase. Even if you had a good game, it wouldn't be enough to really escalate yourself into the full first place they had. Now, not only sitting up at the top, but also having stellar performances to back it, it's been very big for, I want to say, all of Heating Up to have someone who can play as consistently as you see out of SoldierBot.
And they'll look in this matchup today. I mean, obviously they'll look to win. But coming down the stretch here, it's Kresnik actually mentioned it early to start the desk today. Now you're looking at map differential. Like they need to at least match or do better map-wise than Onslaught does in their matchup here this week. So not only will they hope to win, they'll hope to win in pretty convincing fashion. On the opposite end, though, Big Money, their team, that's kind of had a tumultuous start to their PCL season, but they found some wins here and there, and they've looked okay while doing it. They have a lineup I think that they'll be happy with going into this. Talk to me a little bit about Falcon on their team and what he means as a player and what you look for out of him.
I mean, he's just been around the scene for a long time, right? Between him and Galaxy on this team, I think there's a lot of push and pull that I want to say closes the gap that, again, any weaknesses they might have had separately are able to go forward. Kev has been in this actually really comfortable position specifically where, again, a solid DPS player that was just always unfortunately on a team that was never the first place team, right? Never the one that was finding most of the success. Still kind of in that boat, I will say, but bringing a higher level than what we used to see in the last few teams that he's played on. Cryptic, I believe, was the last team I remember seeing him with. And the same thing, bringing in Galaxy with them. He gets to focus more on the Leons. He can play these flanks like the Zins. And that's the thing that we've seen a lot of these teams missing today specifically, where it's just you need to be able to pull out something like this, a Zin, whenever you can.
I was going to say, we always hear, where's the Zin? Finally, we get at least a taste of it in some replays, even if it's not in the games themselves. We're going to have Jaguar Falls as map number 1 here. Fish Market off the board, as well as Shattered Desert. So Jaguar Falls, pretty standard start to the day here. I look for more of the same that we saw last week from Heating Up. Again, they had sort of a tumultuous start to their set against Onslaught. I mean, Onslaught looked, honestly, like they were going to take it 3-0. And it wasn't necessarily like a drafting thing that they needed to pick up or change. I think Heating Up just maybe weren't as comfortable. They needed to heat up, exactly. And they heated up towards the back end of their set. So maybe more of the same. Of course, Atlas and Amani, we've seen them a few times today. And I imagine that'll continue to not necessarily throw a wrench in, but mix things up here in picks and bans.
I mean, it's one of those things, especially since I think we've seen Amani ban once. So they are not changing ban priority on console, but they're still really solid when they get picked in. If you have someone who's been practicing this Atlas, it will be game-changing for you. It will make a huge difference, and it just depends on how comfortable you feel with him, right? Earlier we saw someone in the first set where it's very obvious, you have been practicing Atlas. We also saw someone who was like, you have not been practicing Atlas.
That's right. Elo, in set number 1. Looked awesome. Just looked really, really good on the champion. Showed it to its fullest potential. And it's funny that you kind of mentioned that, and that he's kind of been, in a way, like a feast or famine sort of champion. I mean, the utility he brings always has potential in any given game that he's in. But seeing somebody play it to his fullest potential versus kind of here and there, neither here nor there. It's definitely kind of night and day with him. But we have seen a lot of Makoa coming out today, Gore. And Makoa fans will be happy about that.
I mean, especially this time around. I'm a big fan of the fact that he's not going 8th or 9th. Like, he's coming in a genuine position. Genos, I think, is a very big play here for big money, especially compared or added to a Victor. It's going to make this very contended overall in terms of the fights for the rooms on the sidelines. But Khan, Atlas, Koga, Maldamba, like, I think the Koga is in this perfect area where it's, we don't want you to get Koga, and also we can run it without anything really supplementing it. It's just going to look good.
And follow me in.
We get to take a look at him for the second time here today, and Amani again coming through. Saw her a little bit last set, and to pretty good effect. She had a pretty good series last time for Bust Down. I mean, they were in the winner seat, so maybe her environment in the last set sort of dictated what type of Amani we were able to see. But a good Amani nonetheless coming out last set. Walk me through both of these lineups. Which one do you like?
I actually think I like Big Money Esports a little more in terms of their draft. It's just whether or not they can play at the level they've executed in the draft, right? Khan, Atlas, Koga, Maldamba, Leon is all going to be very performance heavy, but Heating Up have shown they can play that performance.
I agree. And Heating Up, they'll look to win, and they'll look to win with a pretty good map differential to keep themselves out in first place. Let's go ahead and get into set number 1, and let's take a look at your casters.
Thank you so much, boys. Down here in the booth with Kresnik, we're going to get a little cast action in for you guys. Big moves here in the draft, I think, for both squads. I'm looking at a little bit at the Atlas. Do you expect to be just exclusively Deja Vu on Jack Falls?
Probably. I think being able to hit people around corners is really, really good.
Thoughts on if, I can't even remember the name of that town, but that leaves a little explosive thing behind. I know it's banned right now, but if it weren't, do you think it would be played?
Yeah, actually. I think it's pretty good. You could rewind, play around it for pressure, almost like a Grumpy Bomb. It's not really a zoning talent. It's more a rewind to the same place. Now there's 900 damage. You charge up a shot, 1800, boom, in an instant. That destroys squishies.
Would you say the radius is comparable to like a Grumpy Bomb, or is it a little smaller?
I think it's about the same size. It feels a little bigger sometimes. Maybe that's because the numbers that come up are so big, you're like, oh man, it's doing so much.
Well, as we load in the game here, we'll be burst mode, splitting ice, Leviathan, fairly standard stuff, nothing too out of the ordinary. Luminary, shoulder charge, Eminence, and it will be Deja Vu, Adrenaline Junkie. Temporal Divide, it's so great, but I think on this map,
you want that corner pressure more than anything.
you have that, and it's like the base size is just big enough on Jagger.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can speed yourselves in as we go towards the mid. Atlas coming down the middle, looking to poke down that Ashe. Dismounts herself as the team kind of settles into the Sun side. Getting booped around a little bit, bullying. Makoa looking to bully the backline a little bit, though.
Absolutely. 3%. That's all that's gained. Nobody taking a too commanding, too aggressive lead here at the start. Both teams almost doing that do-si-do. Big Frost Bomb goes across the way. Gets a couple of roots, Kresnik, but there's enough healing and not enough aggression to follow it up.
Yeah, they're not close enough, really. Between the Victor and Amani, it's kind of like a double poke backline with two pretty aggressive tanks. So if they have the tanks ready to collapse on a Frost Bomb, they can maybe get away with it, but the damage might not be there.
So is that the way you kind of play this one? Hold the thought here. A little setback action coming. This could be our first blood. Body blocks the shoulder charge out. Roman Rulers under some threat. Shoulder bot. He needs to watch himself as well. Still no first blood as we head towards 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, with a map like Jag, right, they're just trying to out-rotate the other. The Genos is staying.
There it is.
Gets the Atlas right around the corner. I think some burst from the...
I think that was Makoa shot or something. Somebody connected with a shot
there
as
well.
There
There is some big burst, yeah.
That was a little 100 damage poke from Ashe. It wasn't too much in there. Soldier Bot's in trouble now, but nice juke away. Richie's able to find Makoa before Roman takes down Soldier Bot in kind. 81% though for Heating Up. This is an objective-based game, and right now Heating Up are showing us that that's where their head's at.
Yeah, absolutely. They got so much cap pressure during this. It's going to make it really hard for Big Money to retake as Kev tries to poke them down in the mid. Comes walking in, uses the shout to get through the grip. Can't get to the cap there.
Well done. Definitely tough stuff there. So we've seen a pretty decent amount of Atlas played in the aggro front line kind of spot, but I have to say that was probably as closest as I've seen him come to playing the point. Is this as a result of there is viability there, or is this it's two aggro front lines for Big Money as well? They don't really have an Inara or a Barrack or something that's going to look to contest too heavily on the objective.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely filling in for space. You know, somebody has to cap, and while I do think Khan is better for it, having him walk in while he's using his poke through the shield, it's getting more value than I think if they had put the Khan on points.
They did a pretty good job at like both kind of, you know, carrying their own weight a little bit. Each doing a decent amount of it. Dragon is up and available for Galaxy, but he's on the defense right now, and popping this on the defense when there's so many little rooms and nooks and crannies and line of sight breaks. It's definitely going to be tough to find value for until you kind of get into that more open base. Overpower, a little off the mark there, unfortunately. Forces assert dominance. There's a Dread Serpent coming out. Soldier Bot finds the first kill. Setback takes Ashe close to, but she's getting almost locked down, juggled around, and her whole ultimate was spent being CC'd.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weakness of Ashe early game, right? You generally want to get resilience late game, but this early, you can get just easily countered down. The Ancient Rage comes in, Cyclone Strike just to stay alive over here on the side. Khan protecting for him, shouting him back up. Looks like Heating Up is resetting, trying to push back. Bimiko on the face side.
Such a good element to that Khan kit, being able to shout your teammates back up. You pair that with a Pip, I mean, that's just like so much burst auxiliary healing. Yeah, it's crazy stuff there. 54 seconds on the clock. Makoa versus Khan, a couple of big boys boxing out back and forth. Have to say, Calamity just used that overpower. He is definitely hitting the shots. I mean, look at this. It's about a percent a shot, and he is just chugging his way back up to full charge. When you got 32 in the clip, I mean, there is room to get a lot of overpowers per round.
It's part of the reason to use Storm of Bullets. I mean, Khan's ult, insane. One of the best parts of his kit. Storm of Bullets, faster ult. With Firing Line gone, I mean, it was like the clear choice, I think.
Sure.
Vortex Grip, maybe counter dive, but
it had like a day. It had a day in the sun.
Yeah, and people still run it sometimes. It was ran earlier, actually, in an earlier set to counter Torvald.
Ah, there we go. 15 seconds on the clock now to get this one through. Richie needs to hit these shots, and Lightman's got a big enough hitbox. Kev Falcon a little slow to rotate away from that line of sight.
No scramble in that kit.
He's punished for it. Maybe once cardio gets buffed, we'll see that one live there for sure. But more kills on the high ground. This one looks like it might be a little too far gone.
Yeah, Dread Serpent in to take down Roman Rulers, guaranteeing he can't use the Assert Dominance to hold. Too much poke, too much pressure. Big Money's going to have to give it up.
Heating up. They're going to dunk this one home. 2-0 lead for the boys out of the gate.
Would you say they're heating up right now?
I would say they're already hot.
Oh, they're burning.
This one's
molten.
Looking real good. Used a couple of ultimates to get through there. And I just want to, everyone's got, I feel like, a philosophy on this, but what are your thoughts and the way your team likes to play around? Do we spend to go up 2-0 or up 3-1 or whatever it is, but by proxy put ourselves at a little bit of a weaker position ultimate economy-wise next round?
I think that actually depends a lot on what ultimates you have and what they have, right? If they have ultimates that you can counterplay with good positioning or good regular cooldown usage, then you can spend to get that 2-0, that 3-1, you know, putting yourself in that dominant position. If they have an ultimate like a Dragon Punch and you have a Nando, you're like, we might want to hold back on this Immortal just so we can have that to do with the Dragon Punch. Or maybe we'll just play the open and waste the Immortal right away to guarantee this cap. You know, it's really enemy ultimate.
Well, I think based on what you're saying, Assert Dominance looks like it was dealt with fairly well. I mean, you have the overpowers, you have Commander's Grabs, you have setbacks, you have all kinds of stuff to control this. You could fear her out of that. That's been a big thing, is like just ceasing Ashe out of the air before she can get it. Commander's Grab misses, though, and Ashe will be able to get the full duration of her ultimate.
Looks like they might be using the Banish on her instead, just to guarantee she doesn't get the value out of it. The Banish is about to end up. How quickly will she burn? No one's looking at her in mid. Manages to live lifesteal back up with the Genos. Atlas still poking around the corner, using his longer range to get some damage in while capping. Atlas is nasty.
There it is. He's definitely got a great gun and really, really strong. Unique cooldowns that are difficult to play around, especially early on. Kev Falcon finds 2. Poor Atlas trapped in a corner. Second chance is already used. He's doing his best to try and stall this one out, but with fast cap enabled, Big Money Esports look like they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Double comeback mechanic. I mean, generally, no matter how good you are, unless you have a massive ult advantage, going into the you're up to a mid fight, you're like, well, can't wait to win that 3-1 mid fight. You know, you're usually, unless they really misstep, it's hard to counteract the fast cap if they play the objective right.
You have to be seriously in command of the game. I agree. It's a lot to fight back against, but that helps keep the set competitive because, you know, when you do capture a payload, you do get that 300 credit bump, and without that comeback mechanic of some kind, it would be too easy to snowball a game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Credit advantage is a really big deal, and not really talked about much. There's ways to abuse it, too, like stacking the card if they're not going to contest, and it doesn't really ever seem to get abused as much as we see the Koga pushing out here on the left, forcing out Cyclone Striking, taking down Galaxy on the Amani, pressuring on the side, using agility, a little bit nerfed, but still going to be good enough to dodge those Makoa hooks as he keeps up the pressure. Yeah,
it's cool to see, you know, the SMG play come basically back into full force, full swing for when you do see Koga, very rarely on PC at this point. But were those claw nerfs enough to take him out, or is it just when you don't have Torval, that's just too risky.
He was already not really being played much without Torv. PML, he was being played a little bit more, but in the PPL, you really didn't see him that much without the Torv. I think he was a really nice matchup. I saw the match last week between Heating Up and Onslaught with Grover, because every Shadow Step cleanse is caught. So every time he dashes, he can get Grover amped, boosted back up. The Rampant Blooming is really good, stacking with his agility heal. Like, there was a lot of synergies there.
Yeah. Blue defense, or blue offense, I should say, trying to get off the ground here. Calamity misses the overpower, so he'll get his 30% bad player refund. No shots, just the way of the road here. 57 seconds to get this offense underway. They've gotten themselves a nice, good little pick there. Overpower is down, like we were mentioning. Big Fear to the back line, but the follow-up is not enough.
I think it was just to kind of calm down the pressure. Both backline DPSs, both in a great position to confirm damage on the Makoa's targets. It was just kind of a peel ultimate. Save the team, make sure we don't go down 2-2.
Well, Barrage comes out, doesn't get much value for a Whoosh. Just pushes that one down. Full charge shots coming around the corner. Finds one onto Amani, and it's enough for Richie to be set up. Soldier Bot finds Galaxy. NBK goes down to Young Leon, and 22 seconds on the clock. Big Money Esports, I think, big goal for them right now. Try and get this Ancient Rage charged up to make sure it's ready to go. Second one in the next round. I don't know if this overtime is really looking like it's going to be super likely. Still about 40% of the payload push to go. It would be a big commitment if they wanted to start popping ultimates.
And it would give more ultimates to them, too. You know, like, they actually have an ultimate advantage right now if they were to give it up. But it looks like they are going to go for it. Roman getting poked out a lot by the Koga. Double Shadow Step to dodge the shoulder bash. Still controlling the right side here. Looks like their team is mostly pressuring face, but
it's easy to lose sight of that objective.
Can we talk about the letter number? Is that
we can.
The letter number? The big C9.
Ah, yes.
Unfortunate.
Yes,
Very
sir.
unfortunate.
It's tough. Sometimes you lose sight of that objective. And we've almost had a couple of backdoors in the PPL. I think Random Noob had a pretty good one on a Frozen Guard.
Yes.
There was definitely opportunity. Who got that one? NIP, was it Dicky Dog that grabbed that one? Somebody grabbed a good one in that NIP set on Serpent as well.
Yeah, I mean, NIP, when their position, you know, teams are really pressured playing against them, right? That's when you can get away with that kind of stuff, when teams are like, all right, we got to cover everything. We got to cover. Was that it?
We've said it's like when you finally get them on the back foot, you're so excited about it. You just want to keep doing that. You want to continue to win against a team like that. That's been the magic word in this season of Paladins, is just pressure. When you're up in somebody's face, you're making them uncomfortable. It's forcing, you know, they're probably flooding their comms. They have a lot that they're calling for help. They're calling for an adjustment or something. Look at that, Soldier Bot with the Cyclone Strike. He's going to take down 2 before getting Ancient Rage down himself. That's both frontline ultimates used in a very small little proximity and at the same time.
After multiple picks, too. So they're not going to get nearly as much value as they would have wanted to. Plus, that whole time with those 2 tank ults, they were still capping. Whoosh was on the point. Now the support's taken over, but look at this damage. Doesn't even manage to get any really traded frags or ult charge. The Dragon's coming in, but he's just going to look at a Con shield. I mean, this Con's going to be kind of unhappy, but that Dragon can't contest.
Oh, no, he can't. There was a time, Kresnik. There was a time when it could in play testing.
And it was real sad.
I had to play against that, and I hated every second of it.
There's a reason it doesn't do it anymore.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget being a poor little Fernando on the... It was actually on Shattered Desert before it had like its skin. I was playing on like grayscale Shattered Desert, just like trying to like with my poor little Fernando.
Your nightmare scenario. Like every night I wake up, everything's gray. There's a dragon. I can't do anything.
Contest the payload. I'm playing Fernando on Shattered Desert.
That was when it moved faster. That was when it lasted longer. That was, oh, good lord.
10k HP, I was just like, come on, bro. Like, this is brutal. I was like, this can't contest the payload. This can't be a thing. It was holding the payload back. That does it, though, for map number 1 here. Heating Up are going to grab that victory on Jaguar Falls. Let's get back to the desk. Hear their thoughts.
Thank you, guys. Good job, Kresnik. Jumping right back into the casting game in a big way. Heating Up, they jump back into the PCL game in a big way. They find map win number 1. They lost a point, though, Gore, but they won 4 points.
Yeah,
I think that's what's important here.
I think the big thing is Big Money is showing signs of life, and this is a matchup that, admittedly, and this is just the way the region is kind of shaken out, is that Heating Up Onslaught should almost always be on top of Big Money, and I believe Loki's scheming in here, where it's just like they should almost always be able to kind of take this. So the fact that they were able to come in and have the performance they did, even though not many positive slash lines, not any crazy plays, not able to win the map, they still did really well.
No, I think so, and this Heating Up roster, and this week is no exception. They've seemingly week after week gone through some sort of a roster flip, whether it's just You know, Cop used to be on this team and has now moved back elsewhere. I mean, they've gone through so many different changes, so being able to stay consistently as one of the higher performing teams, you have to give them props as well. I mean, it's not easy when things change around so much, but they've proven that, you know, they can stay on top. Bright Marsh is where we're going to head for map number 2, though. And
I want to give props to Richie because, I mean, Richie was, you know, before this week playing on Onslaught. He was one of their mainstay members.
Yeah, right, Richie.
And so, I mean, him coming in and playing at, the same level on this team coming in, this is one of those things where, you know, if you're looking at Flashpoint picking up Skippy, right, this is another land-centered kind of move in my mind where it's just we want to win hard, and we want to have a chance when we get there to make sure that we continue that rate.
And they do that up to this point. Richie looked really good here in his first game with heating up. So hats off to him. He's our, not really MVP, but he's our highlights there for game number 1, showing us that, well, his Leon is up to par, and for good reason they add him to this lineup. Atlas, though, he's going to go over the way of big money here. Khan on the opposite side. So heating up are prioritizing Khan over the Atlas, at least at the moment. That's not necessarily unheard of. I feel like we've seen a good bit of that over the past few games where Khan, Atlas both on the board, and Khan sort of takes that higher tier.
And I think there's two, it's multifaceted, right? One of the arguments to look at is the fact that, first off, Khan is a phenomenal frontline. Like, he is amazing when it comes down to it. So you don't really want to skip up on him. And it's how well do you know Atlas at this point, right? How much practice have you been putting in on him? And if you have been putting in a lot, do you think he's going to be valuable over things that you know are a little more comfortable, right? For the PPL, we saw NIP. Even the players say they don't really like playing Atlas, but they see how useful he can be. So they pick him up anyway, and they still play him at such a high level that I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But you have to have that kind of push and pull when you're deciding those things.
No, I'd agree with that. I would say that's a pretty spot-on analysis in this case. The team's just kind of going with what they're most comfortable with. As such, though, we see the Barrett go over the way of heating up in this case. The Inara is off on the opposite side. This is the sort of the meta of the high-priority front lines continues here in this case. The Khan and the Barrack, the Atlas and the Inara. So 4 of the higher-tier frontliners coming out in this one. Ash,
try to keep up.
Not really being the benefactor of this current meta. She's still big, but at least in this game, the Inara, some of them are going to get higher prioritized here. Koga, though, comes out yet again. How have you felt about Koga today?
Honestly, mixed results, I would say, coming out of it. I feel like he's definitely been one of those champions at this point, especially that he looks really good when there's a Torvald in the game, can look really good when there's a Genos behind him. But so far on his own, I'm still on the fence about it. I know earlier he was picked up against a Tyra, and it was one of those, well, he can cleanse the Tyra mark. It's like, yeah, but if Tyra's marking Koga all the time, then she's doing her job wrong. Like, she should be focusing the front lines. So it's one of those things. He has a lot of potential, but I don't know if it's really working out.
Well, it's time to see how it does work out. Heating up here, they claim map number 1. We're going to dive in here to game number 2. Heating up, could go up 2-0 here, but big money, they look to answer back. Let's send it down to your casters.
Thank you so much, boys, as we load into Bright Marsh here. Heating up, looking strong, but not unbeatable, I think, after that Jaguar Falls game.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Big Money looked pretty good on some of the fights. I mean, some minor ult slip-ups, but that was, I would say, absolutely nothing that counts them out of this game for me.
Well, we'll be more standard talent selections here. Nothing too out of the ordinary in either the drafts or the picks. NBK looks like he's going to go for a Temporal Divide. And while we do draw a lot of parallels between Bright Marsh and Jaguar Falls, we talked a lot about why you would want Deja Vu on a map like Jag Falls. Do you think that still applies? Do you think this is a mistake to go Temporal here?
I think it goes either way on this map. Like, this map has bigger sightlines than Jag, ones you can abuse. So having the Temporal Divide and being able to push, or just at least maybe like push across point, go to their side. You can have all that covered with the Temporal, but it doesn't look like it's getting them anything right now. Completely pushed out by this 5-man apartment stack, but they're giving up all this cap time.
Yeah, that's definitely been a big thing that I've noticed today is that one team, if they get objectively minded and just really kind of almost Navi on the point, don't even care about the fight and just want to capture this one. Even if Big Money Esports get wiped right now, can you really call it a loss at 84% cap?
Oh, no, that's like, this is why point tanks, and why there is even a term for a point tank, are so important, you know? Being able to just get this objective pressure. Making retakes easier, I think, is the most important thing.
Well, better late than never. At 99% heating up, go ahead and grab a victory here in this fight. Monty's going to go ahead, take the high ground, and start Kung Fu fighting her way through to the back line. These icicles. Splitting ice going to be great for the dismounts here. If she can connect on a target, Inara is making a lot of progress on her horse.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, oh, it looks like she was called out, but she's too close to be stopped. It's not like they have the Inara. They can't wall her off. She can still make it in. Now it's about the pressure around it. Gonna take one shot of the barrage. SoldierBot still holding on, looking for another target, but she manages to hold off till she gets her damage reduction back. Contest comes in, but now they have to get onto this back line or else they're not gonna be able to pull it off.
There's a dragon available.
Into a nade.
There's a money go for it. There's a convergence available. Big setback on from the high ground. Finding a nice shot on the Atlas. Heating up. Look like they might be able to take this one, barring catastrophic failure at this point. Inara is still here, but she doesn't have her support nearby or in line of sight, so she falls fairly quickly thereafter. Overtime expires. One quick reset to flip it back on the heating ups overtime, and the payload is theirs.
Yeah, that's one of the weaknesses of having such a point-focused tank. Like, yes, it's really strong to get that cap pressure, but in those situations where it's like 99-99, your Inara is like, well, I mean, I could get off the point, but they would win. We have to both stay in here. Now, the Inara can be ignored a little more than the Barrack can.
Yeah.
Right? Barrack has that better fall-off. He can do more confirmable damage at that range, where the Inara is like, I can hit you for 300. I might miss one shot of it, probably.
Yeah, there's definitely merits to Barrack's gun. That's why he fits into so many compositions. He's got a lot of his own, like, despite being a low HP front line, he's got a lot of his own self-sustain with bowling ball, things like that. Overpower off the mark. Didn't expect that Tyro to drop down as quick as she did. A couple of stabilization kills coming out from Big Money Esports right now. It's okay, though, if you're heating up. I mean, after you capture that payload, you're not in the lead until you get to go home and spend those credits and actually take that item advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, all they're losing now is the can we ult here time? You know, the time where as a team, you're like, you look at the clock, you're like, maybe? Maybe not. That's really all they've lost by losing that first minute. They've lost the guaranteed ult time. Now if they ult, it's going to be risky, but I mean, I would say that I wouldn't call a Dragon super risky, especially one that's being positioned really well. Just by hiding there, she bought way, way more time. Yeah,
a lot of space, backing up the Sonar, taking some poke as well. And you might say that's going to be healed back up, but the damage from SoldierBot has other plans. All this clumping coming out. Tyra's making herself available. There could be a kill here fairly shortly. SoldierBot will find it on Galaxy. Everybody's so grouped up as well. Susceptible to the fear. Double Dread Serpent to the backline, and SoldierBot is just teeing off in the window, and Inara walked in late to the fear.
You walked into the invisible fear, if that, like that last half second where it goes away and you're like, I got it. Nope, nope, absolutely gone. One big thing about this, actually, because of the timing that they took the fight and because they didn't die on the cart around that first corner, nobody was on the high ground. The Ceres wasn't safe. The Inara, actually, they had time. The Inara could have walled the Ceres up to keep her safe out from behind the tree.
So I guess that's just more value from that Dragon. It forced everyone back, but nobody died. So you're right. Everybody kind of... awkward spot for sure. And is there, I mean, how do you play around that as the team on defense? Is there a point where you're jumping off the map or you're suiciding on a zone to try and kill yourself so you can get back on that high ground, or is that I think sometimes it just shakes out that way?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, some healers can get back up there. Not many. You know, Ying can. And with an Inara, any healer can. But I guess they were just under too much. They were under too much poke. Like they were just taking too much for the Inara to be able to think I can stop and get off the cart. I mean, that was the value of the Dragon, right? They just gave up all that ground without dying.
I don't have overpower just yet, but it will be up in less than 10% ult charge. Big Money Esports, it's like the 6th barrage of the game, it feels like. Yeah, that ultimate charges very quickly, especially when your Victor is putting out as much damage as SoldierBot is. Koga is in the back line, causing distraction. This is the value that flankers bring, even when they're not getting kills.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just being able to sustain back there, being hard to pin down. I mean, that's why flankers are kind of making a return, right? Just being able to rotate between the Maid, Koga, Androxus, just being able to do those rotations. Galaxy crossfiring onto Calamity, manages to get the pick off. Barrack still pressuring on the point, not really keeping up with the capture that Big Money has, but he's still getting some good pressure.
How could you? I mean, comeback mechanic in full swing here for Big Money. They barely get on the objective, and they're already at 78%, but they just don't want to give this fight up. Kev Falcon fighting tooth and nail. SoldierBot getting back to full charge on Barrage again. Granted, he canceled the last one, so that's why it charges a little bit quicker. He's going to be looking for something, anything, decent damage onto Inara, and he knows he's going to die to this Cyclone Strike unless he gets a big shout from Khan.
Oh man, that's why Khan is so good. I mean, being able to immune through that, being able to help your teammate. Ooh. NBK coming into banish on the right side. I got caught off guard. I didn't see that one coming. Double banish on SoldierBot, keeping them out of the fight. Yeah, without resilience, brutal. Plus, if you have your team there, it's basically a guaranteed kill. He barely manages to get away, but now he's not there to help stop the capture for the point. Big Money walks away with a comeback win.
That is so much lockdown, and especially as a Victor, you're rushing those records, those cauterizes. You're not really after the resilience in the early game. You really save that till later, and you look at SoldierBot even transitioning into Haven before he's worried too much about resilience. So Atlas, at this point in time, is going to be able to get some damn good value out of the Exiles. Is this as free? Because I'll be honest, Exile is like the last thing that I've been talking about in Atlas's kit. It's the temporal divide. It's how good his gun is, setbacks, rewinds, things like that. Very few impactful highlight Exile plays.
Exile, the Exile itself, it can be really good. It can be so impactful, but it's an ult that can help the enemy team. That's one thing about Atlas and why he's being picked up kind of slowly by some people is all his abilities can help the enemy team. Yeah. Almost every single, other than like what, his primary and his shield. Other than that, you can rewind them to a better spot. You can rewind yourself into the middle of their team. It's really hard to pick up exactly when an Exile is going to be good.
Yeah.
You need to do it to peel for your team. You can do it to stop a point capture. You can use it to set up a kill. You know, if you have a character that can lay down damage to go later, whether it's Bomb King, maybe the Tyra Firebomb. In their case, I believe. Oh yeah, in their case, they could do like a Tyra Firebomb under that. Set up stuff
it feels like a character that could struggle in casuals without communication and things like that.
I could speak from my casual experience and say, yeah, pretty.
That's a hard yes from
strongly. It's a hard yes. I mean, you can basically in casuals you got to play like a sniper, you know, and you can play him like that in some ways in this. Oh, but one thing, setback can stun CC anybody out of those kind of ultimates, right? Whether you stun the other Atlas using Exile, the Victor using Barrage, a Torb using Hyper Beam.
Wow. So you got to be aware of that stuff. And SoldierBot's got plenty of barrages already in this game. He's already back to 30% and climbing. I mean, this guy is just not even building Marabu. He's just cranking out damage to the point where he's getting a barrage almost every fight, every other fight. Big Money Esports trying to get this one through. If the defense holds, this is a point. They will go up 3-1 here. So definitely a high-value offense, or defense, excuse me, and one that you do maybe spend ultimates to hold because it is worth that point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely willing to spend points to keep them from being in like a victory scenario. Like you can, if you're defending even against a 3-2, if you're at the 3, you can spend ults just to keep them 3-2 to make sure that next point fight isn't over
at the end of the game, right? Yeah. Overtime is going to be started here by Big Money Esports. It's going to be a hard fight for them. Roman Ruler's taking a lot of damage, trying to dip in and out of these lines of sights, but so much pressure comes through almost all at once, and very few Inaras die that quickly, but just speaks to the amount of damage coming out of heating up right now. The Imani, the Khan, the Victor, and even the Barrack. I mean, that's definitely a gun that you got to talk about.
You can't ignore Tinkering. I mean, the poke it has is really consistent, especially when paired with the Genos. It's not now, but still, 560, 560, 560 over and over. It adds up, and it doesn't have much fall off. He can do it really, really safely.
Pretty quick reload, pretty good fire rate. It's all good stuff, and that's what's kept Barrack involved. Is bowling ball and Tinkering. I mean, his turrets are glorified healing stations at this point.
Yeah, that's basically all they do. I mean, I wish I could see how much damage only the turrets do in a game. I could imagine it being 4,000, 5,000.
The only reason I could see myself being surprised is because people ignore them and do end up just sitting in a line of sight of a turret for long enough to where it maybe starts to matter a little bit, but long gone are the days of Architectonics, you know, blasting my poor little over-the-moon Eevee out of the sky, and I am happy to see them go away forever.
I liked the split up from heating up, but when you split up, you have to be willing to turn and peel if they find an opening.
Great dash.
Kev found the opening and picked off SoldierBot, and then avoids the Dread Serpent. That was fantastic by him.
That's awesome. I mean, that's one of the cool things about Shadow Step is just like the amount of stuff you could immune or get out of the way of, which is a well-timed Shadow Step, is insane.
The outplay potential is huge.
Yeah, no, some of those non-ultimate abilities that really, really can have a large impact. Because of that, just a couple of picks and a comeback mechanic, that's all it takes. Big Money Esports will be back on the offensive.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Adrenaline Junkie is the most picked current legendary for Koga, because you get, you know, more Shadow Steps, more agilities.
Yeah.
That's a Shadow Step is his best ability probably now that Claws has been nerfed. I mean, what can you say to make that bad? There's nothing that makes that bad at all.
Too bad Shadow Step wasn't in Claw stance. That would have been brutal.
I would have banned Koga.
Quick little uninstall
99.99% of the time.
I'm boycotting Paladins until this is gone.
Okay. Well, you're getting a little too real for the games we're talking about right now. Anyway, looking like Tyra Atlas settling on the right, trying to push back the Barrack. Wreckering straight through that shield with the Mark II. He's going to have to pull him out of there if the pressure keeps up, but they get poked out by the Atlas there as well. The Con, excuse me, there as well.
Big poke going both ways. Burst mode, Victor, Con. Everybody just trying to fire down their lanes, get this payload pushed up as much as possible, but it might take an ultimate or something spicy to break this one off, and Richie will be the first one to find a frag.
Yeah, Amani's, I don't know if that was splitting ice or just a regular poke he found on somebody, but Amani's potential to be that first pick with how little you expect.
Looks like a Frost Bomb into just some auto attacks, man.
Yeah.
Frost Bomb's got to be one of the best non-ultimate cooldowns in the game.
And that's why it's such a long cooldown, you know? And
yeah.
It also goes to show how powerful Ice Dance is when you think about how good Frost Bomb is, but you're still not switching to Fire at all to get that cooldown with that one card.
It's what we were kind of talking about with Koga, right? The Shadow Step and is fortunately not in the same stance as Claw, whereas Frost Bomb is in the better stance for Amani. She doesn't have to do any of that switching. She has the slow, she has the reliable cleave, and the Frost Bomb all in one.
If you think about it on just like a purely number standpoint, if you shoot someone in a group, every shot, which is at about Cassie speed, is doing more than Shaolin damage. If you're considering all the numbers added up, you know,
and
like 1100. Yeah, exactly. That Koga took what, 700 from a shot that didn't even hit him. Splitting ice is.
And that's the worst way to die.
Yeah. When you think of it like that, it's pretty brutal. Saris, thankful he gets rooted off the edge, so she might be able to survive here, but looks like they're being wrapped. I mean, they might not be able to get her out safely. Shadow Travel trying to make it out barely. Splitting ice, maybe. Nope, barely manages. The left-right split there, actually.
Wouldn't it be insane if you could bounce things like Shock Pulse and Splitting Ice off of an Nara wall? You just attacked the wall and it just went through and bounced to something else.
You can get, I'm pretty sure you can get Grok resets from it with Maelstrom.
You can auto attack.
Yeah. But you can't get the bounces off.
Oh man, that would be brutal. That would be brutal.
One thing to point out, look at the KDAs. Did you see how safe? Like the rest of the team on Big Money is playing pretty safe, but that Koga had like 15 deaths and the Atlas had 10.
Yeah. Part of the life of a flanker, you're off on your own. You're looking at Saris. It's not going to be the Genos or anything that can heal you through walls consistently.
Yeah.
For the most part, she's not going to be in line of sight, and this Koga is going to have to do it all on his own. That's why you definitely want to give him credit where credit is due, and I think he's doing a pretty good job of self-sustaining and finding those critical moments. If it takes 15 deaths, but he gets that that critical 2-pick like he did in the last point fight, they get it for free.
Yeah, like I said, that's why flankers are kind of coming back. Just even if they die a lot, even if they're risky, these players are capable of playing these characters. I can't even finish what I'm saying because a massive convergence comes in. They try to Cyclone Strike to clean up on it. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pull anything out. Koga coming through trying to peel for Galaxy, but managed to get the kill. It wasn't enough to save Galaxy. Is that enough to turn the fight?
You would imagine there would have been some more follow-up to that convergence, or maybe, you don't expect those. You don't expect the 3-man convergence. Convergence is a hard ultimate to hit at this level of play. Big Money Esports staying involved on the objective. Another seismic crash, and this might just do it. Looks like somebody actually maybe did get a touch. No, it was just Big Money stepping off and then back on. They will go on the offense for the 3rd time in a row.
When you see a convergence like that, here's what I think happened. Here's the comms for that. Multing left, multing left, multing left. And the rest of the team's like, what? You're doing what?
I think so, yeah. 3 people getting pulled in. There's no follow-up. It has to be some type of frantic scenario where it just wasn't planned. It wasn't laid out or drawn up that way.
Yeah, I've been there. I have absolutely been there. I've been the one to do it. I've been the one to complain to my team for doing it. It happens. Even
it's kind of like convergence.
Level.
It's like when you see a good one, you kind of just got to go for it and hope for the best and hope your team is in a spot to do something about it.
Yeah, you can make it a little cleaner. You can say, like, I'm looking to alter smid, but that's about the most you can do if you're just sitting looking for that perfect clean.
I'm going to be looking for it for sure. It's tough. Communication is such a key element, and I mean your team's communication did have a little bit of a language barrier at the start, but it seems like you guys have completely overcome that as Space Station Gaming is doing very well for themselves in the PPL. Wants to go for the double exile. Looks like onto the Amani to make sure that they get this kill.
Managed to live peel with the barrack. That barrack shield completely, and the step back completely saved.
Wow, so Amani will skate out alive, and will be NBK, the man who is doing the exiling, taken down for it. SoldierBot plugs a couple in the Kev Falcon's back as he tries to exit stage left.
If he plays Victor next game, I'm going to bring my notebook in here, and I'm going to keep note of how many ults he gets in.
It has been a lot. Let's look at the damage charts. I mean, he's got to be above and away above everyone, almost at 200K. He has... I like to set the benchmark for about 10K per minute of gameplay, and I know there's inter-round time periods and things like that, but game clock, 16 minutes, 30 seconds, he's already north of 170K, so SoldierBot is definitely finding a ton of damage. Another barrage, 3 people frostbombed as well. Surprised he didn't go for it there.
The 20-second cooldown ultimate. That's basically what frostbomb is.
Pretty much, bro.
It's games like this that let you see why Victor is such a high priority pick in the console scene. You know, just like when you're playing with a controller, the aim assist helps you so much with it.
Yeah.
It makes it really, really easy to confirm. He already has a ton of damage. Plus the nade, since these teams kind of like to death ball and group up, the nade gets more resets. It gets more damage that way. It's just, you can see why he's such a contested pick.
I mean, for sure, especially even, you know, the grenade talk. You were just Flashpoint, the way they play it, they get their Torvald Vic on Stone Keep, and they bubble for the double grenade and do so much damage as a result of it. It's like
That's
4,000 to 5,000.
right?
Yeah, 4,000 to 5,000 damage per grenade. It is crazy the amount of damage you can get with this character. If you line it up, you're paying the cost of little to no mobility and no utility either. All Victor does is do damage for you. So if you're cool with that, he is very good at doing that job.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they have, like, you can notice he's basically playing with his con all the time. And that con being there is making up for Victor's weaknesses of when he gets dove, he's not the best target at surviving that. You know, he's not going to get through that as well. But the con being there to commanders grab somebody coming in on him to shout and give him that burst of health, it really makes up for a lot of it.
So when we see games like this where 3 people are obliterating 6 figures, we've got Victor almost about to break 200K. Slash lines are incredible, but they're still struggling. They have still failed to cap the point 3 rounds in a row. Is this just as a result of not having the point tank? Is that 0-10 Inara much better than she's appearing on paper?
I mean, could we see the objective time stat just to see?
We do have a chart for that.
We do. She is being contested by the Barrack a decent amount of time, but we don't know how much of that is on mid, how much of that is on the cart being moved, right? But I mean, their comp, it's okay at contesting point, but it's so hard to push into an Inara on this map. Oh my god, a massive convergence.
Man?
Again, it's the comms. You have to be ready. There's a crossfire coming in on the right, trying to do it, getting 2. Keep pressuring the rest out into tree. They have to be ready for this. At 3-3, they're playing for the retake now. They have to.
I mean, yeah, they've got dragons, they've got fears, they've got barrages. I mean, smoke them if you got them at this point. Koga's trying to get in there on the Amani, can't quite do it. Now Inara's going to be under a lot of threat. Can't get this dragon out of the damn building, though. It's too big to fit through the door, 90%. They're getting the touch, though. Is this going to be enough to flip it?
Maybe. I mean, they're getting the picks. They're getting the Inaras here just to die on point, which is, and my casuals don't think so. They think I'm throwing when they do this, but it is absolutely the play. Dying on point when you're in a losing fight. You want to deny that cap time instead of giving them 20% while you're just looking for an edge to jump off of.
As much of as possible. 25 streak. It'd be interesting to lose a game while on 25 streak, don't you think?
It would be very impressive. I mean, Amani just doesn't die. See if they can go in and get the touch. I'm sure she's taking a lot of poke there. The Amani getting a lot of cleave on the side. Inara gets overpowered off the point. Now they don't have that person to contest.
Where was that in the earlier rounds? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's something you could have gone to, I think, a little bit sooner than 20 minutes on the game clock. SoldierBot's going to get in here. Another convergence is up, but I don't know if it's going to see any follow-up.
Oh, Atlas is right there. You can't miss it if it's right in front of you. Maybe that's the play there. The stun coming in counters the Veil 4. Inara will not be able to make it, walling herself off. That's the loss of game acceptance. Save the KD, walk away, heating up, walks away.
That stun matters. I mean, she would have just, all she needed to do was get that touch. Probably back out to safety in that shadow travel. Inara was pretty much right there, ready to get back.
Inara to go back in for the next touch.
That could have been ugly. Big stun there, big play. And heating up managed to hold control of Brightmarsh after a very rocky start. Let's get it back to the desk and keep this set moving.
Well, they find themselves the win, but I think they'll be a little iffy with the way that it came through there, Gore. You had 3 members leading off the damage charts. I'm excited to see. I'm not sure if SoldierBot got to the 200,000.
Yeah.
But that's the takeaway here is they had some of the best slash lines by far. We'll see here. He did. 207,000.
Jeez.
156,000, 116,000. Only one. Bare 48 over the 6-figure mark there is Kev Falcon. And look at the slash lines. 25-8, 22-3.
Yeah.
7-6 30. I'm trying to. Is there anyone? I don't think there was anyone positive on the enemy team, and that's just a difference of They talked about the Inara, they talked about the point tank. What did you see there, Gore? Why was that so hard to win, seemingly?
I mean, honestly, it came down to the fact that Big Money, early on, it felt like they just had better point control, but they weren't winning fights, right? Like, you can dance around the objective, and depending on how that goes, that means you can capture it, and you can get yourself up to 3 points pretty quickly without actually having to do, I want to say, like, not the work, but do anywhere near as much. I mean, Soldier Bot did 207,000 damage on this Victor, right? No one on Big Money was even close. Like, the closest was literally less than half the amount of damage he did. And that's just the thing, is he was always in a position, I think the slash lines and the damage numbers for heating up speak for themselves, but they were always in the position that they were winning this game.
Yeah.
It just came down to the fact that they took a little while to get there.
It did take a little while to get there. Hopefully it will happen a little faster in their favor here. Big Money is going to take us to Frog Isle for map number 3 here, Gore. So the sniper sort of priority map. We saw it once earlier today, I believe, only the one, maybe twice. Definitely once, though. But we saw the one team, they banned out the Kinessa, took the Strix for themselves, and left Leon to play on the opposite side. How do you feel about that on a map like this? You ban one sniper and take the other for yourself. Do you think that's worth using a ban on one of the snipers? We might not see it anyway, but...
I don't think it's worthwhile. I don't think enough teams have a sniper that they were worried about picking. Like, Victor, Leon, Vivian are the 3 that come to my mind almost immediately for maps like this, because, again, you're looking at what's hit scan and can be long range, but I can also use up close. Like, a lot of these players don't want to switch into maybe the Kinessa or the Strix. Maybe Strix more likely, just because you can switch the pistol and still kind of shotgun blast them with it, but like, you have to play it a lot more carefully. You have to worry very heavily about flanks, which on Frog Isle, normally I would say flanks aren't really potent here, but because of the way the console meta is, they will be a lot bigger, and they can take you down if you're playing, too far back.
Well, it's not really going to matter at the end of the day here. None of the snipers coming up in the ban column. Con Atlas, though, that's the 1-2 punch that some of the NIP guys were talking about in the Atlas interview that we had, talking about their thoughts on the champion. They said Con Atlas, that's a hard 1-2 to deal with. And heating up Get It, as well as the Koga here. So they have a pretty interesting, I would say pretty strong front 3 going for themselves here. Bomb King, Ash, Genos on the other side. That's nothing to trifle with either, though. Ying, that's an interesting pick here. 4% pick rate, but 100% win rate. We know what happens to 100% win rate champions, though, Gore. They lose. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens again.
You can't stay on the top forever. No, the thing I like about Ying in this kind of scenario is that when you look at it right now, Genos is really strong. Maldamba can be really good, but not everybody feels as confident on a Maldamba. Ying is going to fill that intermediary role where Grover was, where you could potentially see a Saris, but Saris, again, the biggest downside is I can heal one of you at a single time and hope that nobody needs it. And on a map like this, there's a lot of line of sight breaks. You're not going to be able to get it. Ying can kind of make up for all that.
Well, we not only don't see a sniper ban, we don't see any snipers, although you could, I guess, throw Leon sort of into that mix. But no scoped champions, I guess I should say, picked into this one. How do you feel about either lineup here, Gore?
I think Koga's going to be interesting, but if anyone's going to make him look good, it's going to be heating up. But you have an Amani on the other side of Makoa, a Bomb King, like a lot of good on the side for Big Money.
I would say a lot of good sort of for both the lineups here. Both teams with certainly more than a fighting chance. Let's send it down to the casters and see how Game 3 pans out.
Well, sometimes you get in those situations where a team has just been so dominant, it doesn't matter what their draft looks like. You're like, well, I like that draft better, but those are those guys.
Did you see the rest of the games? Like,
it's tough.
The Koga Leon, it's interesting. The Koga is the interesting one here. I could see it maybe back in like the claw meta where you were just spamming it, like, hitting people behind the trees and stuff, but it's going to be harder for him to get in. Thankfully, not a really super strong backline. That's going to be wanting to sit there dominant. And Yamani's going to be spamming, but he can Shadow Step Frostbomb. He has options. This is going to be a brawly game for Frog Isle, a little more so than we're used to.
We were kind of talking about how it's like, oh, well, Big Money don't really have any range. And then we kind of looked back on the other side. It's like, well, frankly, neither do Heating Up. They both rounded out with the Amani and the Leon, so they brought some type of mid-range pressure in for both squads here. But it's tough to bet against Luminary Bomb King, Luminary Makoa, and Luminary Ash.
Amani is also a really big thing. She does like 1,200 per shot with the splitting ice.
Does the split also get amped?
I don't know. I wish I did.
I don't either. There's so many interactions.
They pay me. They pay me, and I don't even know if splitting ice is Luminary.
I would guess It does, but we will probably.
Well,
I mean, we're gonna get the chance.
We'll
to
see.
It.
We'll see at some point. Yeah. Looks like a Frostbomb coming in on Whoosh on the point. Still managing to get cap time. Not really much confirm off of it. Splitting off of those Ying illusions. One weakness of playing Ying into the Amani. She's gonna get a lot of free damage or just free illusion clear onto it. Ash finally moving into contest.
And it's basically 100% cauterize early on. You can just smash that Ying illusion. Most Yings run the ability to, when an enemy destroys one of their clones, to get massive cooldown reduction.
Spring Bloom.
Yeah, I think
like
that's
that.
what it's called, but not here.
Really? Wow.
Not now.
That's surprising. I guess he's just going to play his illusions very safe. I'm assuming
in.
that's like behind trees, behind pillars. They're going to get hit by the split, but Fracture 1 should be able to heal up that damage.
Definitely 57% for heating up 33. And now climbing for big money as they take control of the objective. Atlas goes down. Kev Falcon, a lot of reload speed there. That's got to be one of the most valuable loadout cards.
World Decree? Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Level 3. You can't mess it up. This guy's got it at 4. There's definitely merit to this card for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the only reload cards that I think really sees play. Other than like Nimble Fingers. Good.
Because most of them are like, you need a kill or an elim. This one's just like, if you're attacking, you get reloads. Play the game. You get reloads.
Play the game. Deft hand 3. Okay.
I'm down.
4 points? Sure.
Okay.
I'll take it. I love free things.
Bomb King's already got a pretty quick reload. Like, I mean, when you look at a character like Bomb King, all of his damage is just the attacks. He's got the utility stun on the Grumpy Bomb, the mobility and potential knockback displacement with Poppy Bomb.
Yeah, but that 100 damage on Poppy Bomb, or whatever it is, doesn't really... I don't even know how much it is. That's how little it matters.
Everything is on his in-hand attacks. I mean, you're able to modify the reload speed, the ammo, the amount of lifesteal you're getting. That's part of the reason why Bomb King is such a monster, because there's so many loadout cards that lend themselves well to just the way Bomb King works.
Ooh, big overpower taking out.
Good view of the dragon there.
Yeah, look, hiding with the dragon. Again, this is what I was saying about like just putting the dragon out of sight. They know it's right there. Like, they want to push, they can't. They know that damage is coming. They just got a lot of card time because that dragon was just sitting behind the tree. They saw the wings. They knew it was there.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything about it.
Well, Whoosh is going to take down MBK, and while we have a little moment of respite here, I was talking about this with Tenor, and he says he uses right-click and I think right-click to go down and Q to go up with his dragon. And I'm like, you're so backwards, I feel like. I think I'm like spacebar and left shift.
Listen, if we're talking about binding, I use my thumb
you're
to
a thumb
right-click,
boy?
and I use shift to
You use your
alt.
thumb to right-click?
And I use shift to alt.
You're nuts.
Yeah,
you're one
I'm
of those
the last
guys, huh?
person.
You got
I'm the
those,
last person.
You got those wonk. You got those F dot keybinds. His smite keybinds are jank.
I
man.
made someone play on my bindings, and
they
like
couldn't do
every
it?
single time they're just like, "What?" Someone played a character that sprints with shift on my account once, and he ulted and spawned 3 times.
Oh jeez. I mean, I am I'm the left shift master race for your movement ability. I think that's the one keep on. We should make that the default, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there.
We're not the ones making the decisions. Soldier bot here pressuring the shielding Makoa. Good step back on the Ash, keeping her locked in place. Commander's grab to confirm the kill. Keeping him still pressured out. Ooh, nice hook. I don't know if that's even going to get the kill, though, because Khan is... Oh, never mind, chain reaction.
Oh, never mind.
I forgot. Bomb King's in the game, excuse me.
Chain reaction. 10 seconds on the clock here. Bit of pressure
Oh,
coming out.
Shades Royal.
Yeah, it looks like Royal, I think. Yeah, sometime. Remember when Royal first came out when it was like 30 or 40% extra?
I think it was more than that.
I would
on the
literally
PTS, it was
yell
100%.
at you. I would just like, people were running it. I think it was, remember Rovenick? I was like, if Rovenick was running it against me for a couple games on PTS, Rovenick came out, and I was just like, you are bad and you should feel bad. I was so salty.
That was, if you paid like however much money to get every single card level 10, it was like 100%.
Yeah. Oh man, dark days indeed. Richie finds the first frag of this defense, and that's just enough, I guess, as it will hold. The overtime meter expires, and we're all tied up at one piece.
That's actually a really important comm that I think a lot of people undervalue, that I even had to get my team to do sometimes, because sometimes they forget. If you're on card, if it's fast overtime, I'm going to die.
I'm gonna die.
I'm going to die. Someone get ready to touch, or whatever it is in Portuguese in my case. That comm is so important to those fast OTs. You can convert if you just say that. It's such a simple thing, but if you have someone ready to replace you and you're not just like, I'm dead, and then the overtime's over,
I'm going down.
it actually can turn a fight, just that little thing. That's how important communication is in a game like this.
Absolutely, especially up at the top level, where these guys are sitting comfortably. No Ancient Rage available, but everything else. Got the little King Bomb action, little Dragon, little Assert Dominance for big money as a result. Heating up have 4 of their own. No Atlas Exile, but we've seen team fights win without it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's situational if you know how to use it. Yingol stacking with, I'm not sure how much trigger happy he has, but that stacking with that's a hard to kill Koga. Although Galaxy
That's
just
true.
surfs in his face, surfs up, gives him a little hang 10.
Shocker, dude.
Got hit with the Frostfire, dude. Oh.
Hanging 10 here, looking good, feeling good. Galaxy throwing a couple more in hands, but it's all about the overpower coming up, being available, finding the kill onto the enemy support, heating up, back in control. Looks like, I mean, barring a catastrophic failure on this zone, this could be their first offensive frog.
Unfortunately, that dragon's name is Catastrophic Failure. If this Makoa has a spin, he doesn't. They don't manage to get the touch. Heating up with a great zone. It's really hard to touch on this map if you get dismounted early. Unless you have like an Eevee that ice blocks from space and lands right on the point like a meteor, it's really hard to get the touch.
That's a great play. I do love that one. And just imagine the dragons in Game of Thrones being like Drogon, Viserion, and then catastrophic failure. Danny ran out of
If
names.
I was a dragon, that would have to be.
She took all of the names and titles for herself and had nothing left for her dragons.
See, some poke from Amani, splitting ice again, getting value. You can't hide. You can't hide from it.
You can't hide
You
from
can
the Dragon Queen.
make distance, but you can't hide from the Dragon Queen. I wish I watched Game of Thrones. This would be. I would be much
you
easier.
don't watch?
I don't. I'm so sorry.
You're
It'd be
that
so
guy,
much.
huh?
No, not like that. Not like that. I just don't have time.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't.
Haven't even started
It's
it?
not like I'm like saying, oh, it sucks. I don't want to watch it.
You'll get around to it.
Let's see. Kev, getting poked out. Richie with a really, really aggressive poke, push down mid, getting the ult. That's the style ult.
That's
He
hot.
didn't need it.
Oh, no! Okay, the team's there. The boys are backing down, and Whoosh helps him out. He gets that elimination CDR as well, which is
It's
going to
really
be
important.
it's going to be a more important card coming up once Heraldry
Yes.
sees a nerf to its
Yeah,
reduction.
that 5-second. That's a big deal. One that's necessary, I think. But I mean, the elim card is going to kind of make up for it. But at least it's not. At least it's on a limb. You know, you have to get that kill as opposed to just like BK, right?
Just hitting it.
Like, yo, you're playing the game. Congratulations. Here's Eminence back.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Well, at least you had to hit Eminence. I mean, with
Yeah.
this reload card, and heating up just dunk it through. It's pedal to the metal, and nobody's around the objective. They're going to go for a 3-1 lead, and now they're on set point.
Yeah, you can't let the card just get through like that for free. I mean, I say it for free. Yingol was spent to keep the sustain up. I think they just got out-sustained. Oh, here's another angle of that push from main. Absolutely insane confirms. Here's the ult. I think actually that was just to not get hooked. Probably CC immunity for that. Definitely should have reloaded before he dove that Amani, but it ended up working out thanks to Whoosh's peel.
Sometimes you get the blood in your eyes, the bloodlust.
The whole screen went red.
Yes.
He had no idea what was going on. That's what he says in court.
And that's okay. That's okay. Do you think there's any merit or any chance that we ever see Precision come back for Leon?
It really depends on how hard the Herald nerf hits.
Gotcha.
It's not going to be Alacrity. I'll tell you that much. Now that's going to be
I've always
clipped
been a
whenever
fan
it
of
runs
Alacrity, if I'm being honest. I like the little slide Valor slide combo. I think it's a lot of fun.
King Bomb coming up on the side. Oh, Jeff manages
And it
to
hits
forward.
a Ying clone! Oh my god!
Oh my, insane!
That's one thing I
Absurd
miss
value.
about Ying is the outplays with the clones. Big dragon damage though, to be honest. Look
Yeah,
at how
huge cleave across the whole team. Richie having an ult again, getting it back thanks to the reset from getting that earlier kill. They're still getting cap time though. Heating up this whole
Somebody's
time.
stalling?
They're forward, but no, Atlas was just on point that whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody's down there still, and he still had his second chance. He was down there all that time, and he didn't even burn rewind at that point. My goodness.
All the damage was looking forward. It was just a Makoa that he was just dashing around his shield.
Yeah,
Not much the Koa could do.
a young jukey boy.
I don't know why I jumped back and forth in real life. There's no one can see it, but
You got to get into it.
it's the
I
New York
support
in me.
it.
I talk with my
support it.
hands on the internet.
There you go. Big dive coming out here from SoldierBot. Can he get this one done? Into the Cyclone Strike. He goes, and it'll be good for a kill onto the support with two more people looking at him. This is giving a 4v2 to the rest of his team.
Yeah, exactly. Just that ult. He was intangible, and everyone was looking at it going, I can't wait till I can kill this Koga. And his entire team got wiped out on the other side.
It's too late at that time. It costed them everything. 87% and climbing. Look for the set here, but
Splitting ice
Galaxy gets the nice little frag there. He's going to have to suicide dive. Gets a nice little cripple root onto a couple Ying clones and an Atlas. But the meter shall expire all the same.
The only frag there in that fight was from the splitting ice. Someone he couldn't even see.
That's the way to do it, baby. That's the way to do it.
Does manage to take it, though. Good
Great
on them.
stuff.
They looked good.
Yeah, that was a good
Looked
bounce
good.
back because they were definitely on the back foot. for the majority of Brightmarsh. Brightmarsh was really like that. That was the defining game of that set, in my opinion, because they were getting crushed every single point.
It was a grind. Every single fight was a grind, and they managed to found the weakness.
They did. Well done to the boys of Heating Up. They managed to claim a 3-0, and I don't know that that's the right story to tell about the set. It was fairly close for a 3-0 as far as 3-0s do go, but that does it for us here in the booth. Let's get it back to the disc.
Thank you, guys, and great set number 3 here for us today. And Heating Up, not only do they find their win, but they find themselves the 3-0 gore. We talked about map differential being important, at least in this region. So that's big here for Heating Up, and they look good. I agree with the guys in the Castor booth, though, in that despite being a 3-0, I think a little closer than maybe that storyline would tell. Maybe a 3-1, maybe a 3-2. but Heating Up, all things said, they come out on top.
That kind of felt like Amani and Bomb King versus the world throughout a lot of that. Like, a lot of the team on Big Money, like, they had a lot of gleaming moments, but, like, it was cool. Galaxy has this dragon coming in that's, like, making the play for them, but the minute that disappeared, kind of felt like the entire play disappeared from the rest of the team. And there were several moments where, I mean, this was the scenario. You're trying to fight a guy who is going to just stay alive, block your shots, and, well, still snipe you while he has the opportunity.
It's got some doinks, too. I love saying doink, and I think Atlas has some doinks in him as well.
Doink point 2.
Doink point 2. Doink 2 Electric Boogaloo here for Heating Up. Whoosh coming up big for his team in that one. Heating Up solidify themselves in first place, at least in this region. A little bit further, depending on how the Onslaught set went.
Yeah.
And they'll be happy with that. I think it's important after a sort of a close win last week to come out with a big 3-0 here. We'll see how the map differential plays out. So it looks like Onslaught were able to win their match as well, though, but that map differential comes out to a 3± here, so Onslaught would have to win the next matchup and do it in pretty convincing fashion. Big Money Esports looking to get something going, unable to do so here today, but pretty contentious still in that region.
That did not feel like a 1 versus 4 matchup, honestly. Like, coming in, like,
when you
looking
look
at
the
Big Money
right?
is like at the bottom, and it's like, that's not how you're supposed to play when you're a 4th place team, which is good for them, because that is, like, I mean, that's exactly the kind of motivation you need, right? Being able to say, come in, and even though it was a 3-0, like Nick said, it did not feel like a 3-0. There were very long, contended games coming down for it, and it was just Heating Up's, I want to say, veteranship, really, that kind of gave them that edge.
Absolutely, and they find the win here today, and that's what's important. We do have one more set coming up next. We have Retaliation, we have E-Storm, we have set number 4 coming up right after this.
The Paladins Console League, brought to you by Skillshot, Hi-Rez, Evil Mojo, iNap, Steel Series, and Respawn.